Did you know that you can stop breathing up to 30 times an hour while you sleep, starving your brain and heart of oxygen without ever letting out a single snore? It is a terrifying reality that millions of women over 60 are living with right now. You wake up exhausted, perhaps with a dry mouth or a dull headache, and you wonder why 8 hours in bed feels like you only slept for two. You go to your doctor, and they check your thyroid or your iron levels, or they simply tell you that fatigue is just a normal part of aging. But I am here to tell you that waking up tired is not a requirement of getting older. There is a silent thief stealing your energy, a hidden mechanism in your throat that collapses in the dark, and because you don't fit the stereotype of the loud, snoring man, it goes completely unnoticed. But the most incredible part? The solution might not require a machine or medication, but rather a simple, surprising strengthening routine for a muscle you have never thought to exercise. Hello and welcome. I am Dr. Emily Hart, and I am here to help you navigate the changes in your body with science, compassion, and practical solutions. My goal is to help you feel vibrant, rested, and fully alive, no matter what birth year is on your driver's license. Before we dive into the science of silent sleep apnea, I would love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? I love seeing where our community of strong women comes together from all over the world. And if you are ready to finally understand why you are so tired, please take a moment to subscribe. We are building a movement here, redefining what it means to age with vitality. Now, let's talk about this silent thief. For decades, the medical community and pop culture has painted a very specific picture of sleep apnea. We imagine a heavyset man asleep in a recliner, sawing logs so loudly he rattles the windows, occasionally gasping or choking for air. Because of this image, many women, especially those of us who are slender or who sleep quietly, are dismissed when we complain of fatigue. We think, I can't have apnea. My husband says I sleep like a mouse. But here is the truth. Silence does not equal safety. There is a condition known as silent apnea, or hypopnea, where the airway doesn't fully close, but it narrows significantly. Think of breathing through a flattened drinking straw. You aren't choking loudly, but your oxygen levels are dropping dangerously low. When this happens, your body enters a state of panic. Your brain realizes it isn't getting enough air, so it sends a jolt of adrenaline to your heart to wake you up just enough to take a deeper breath. You don't fully wake up, you don't remember it happening, but this micro-awakening pulls you out of deep restorative sleep and into a lighter, fragmented sleep. Imagine if someone tapped you on the shoulder every 4 minutes all night long. You wouldn't remember the taps, but you would wake up feeling like you had been hit by a truck. This is exactly what is happening to your body. It is not just stress, and it is certainly not just aging. It is a mechanical issue. But if you aren't snoring, why is your airway closing up? The answer lies in a specific change that happens to our anatomy as we age, a change that affects your throat just as much as it affects your arms or legs. And understanding this mechanism is the first step to fixing it. We need to talk about your throat in a way you probably never have before. We are all very familiar with the concept of muscle loss as we get older. We see it in our arms, perhaps a little loss of tone in our legs, or we notice we aren't quite as strong carrying the groceries. Doctors call this sarcopenia, the natural loss of muscle mass and strength that comes with age. But here is what nobody tells you. Sarcopenia doesn't stop at your neck. Your throat is not a rigid pipe like the plumbing in your house. It is a muscular tube supported by soft tissue and muscle fibers. When we are young, those muscles are tight and toned, holding the airway open like a firm, sturdy tent. However, as we cross the threshold of 60, particularly after menopause when our protective hormones shift, the muscles in the throat and the tongue can lose their tone. They become softer, more pliable. Now imagine a garden hose that has been left out in the sun for years. It becomes soft and floppy. If you try to suck air through that soft hose, the walls collapse inward. That is your airway during deep sleep. During the day, your muscles are engaged, holding everything open. But the moment you drift into deep sleep, your muscles relax. If that muscle tone is weak, gravity takes over. The tongue, which is a surprisingly heavy muscle, falls backward, and the soft walls of the throat sag inward, restricting your airflow. This is why you can have this problem even if you are thin. It is not necessarily about the weight of your neck pressing down. It is about the internal strength of the airway walls holding themselves up. It is an issue of internal fitness, not external fat. This sagging is silent, subtle, and incredibly disruptive. But since you can't see inside your own throat while you sleep, how can you possibly know if this is happening to you? Well, your body gives you clues. Subtle red flags that most women completely ignore or attribute to something else entirely. And once you hear the next few symptoms, I suspect a few light bulbs are going to go on for many of you. Let's play detective with your own body. Because silent apnea doesn't announce itself with a snore, we have to look for the quiet signals. The first and most common red flag for women over 60 is one that is almost always misdiagnosed. It is the need to use the bathroom multiple times during the night. We call this nocturia. If you are waking up 2, 3, or 4 times a night to urinate, you have probably been told it's just your bladder getting older or perhaps that you drank too much tea before bed. But there is a very strong chance that your bladder is innocent. Here's the fascinating science behind it. When your airway narrows and you struggle to breathe, your heart has to work harder to pump blood. This stress signals your heart to release a specific hormone called ANP. This hormone effectively tells your kidneys, we are under stress, dump fluid to lower the pressure. So your kidneys go into overdrive, producing urine rapidly. You wake up thinking you need to pee, but actually you woke up because you stopped breathing and the need to pee was just the chemical result. It is a survival mechanism masking as a bladder problem. Another major red flag is the morning headache. Do you wake up with a dull ache, perhaps right behind your eyes or at the base of your skull, that usually fades after you've been up for an hour? That is often caused by carbon dioxide buildup. Because you haven't been exhaling fully and deeply all night, CO2 accumulates in your blood, dilating the blood vessels in your brain and causing that throb. Then there is the issue of dry mouth. Even if you don't snore, if your airway is collapsing, your body might instinctively try to pull air in through your mouth rather than your nose. This dries out your saliva, which is your mouth's primary defense against bacteria. So if you wake up with a tongue that feels like sandpaper, or if your dentist is suddenly finding more cavities despite your good hygiene, look to your sleep. Finally, pay attention to how you feel the very second you wake up. Do you ever wake up with a racing heart, a sense of anxiety, or a feeling of doom? That is the adrenaline dump. Your body just saved your life by waking you up to breathe, and you're left with the pounding heart of a runner who just finished a sprint. If you are nodding your head to these symptoms, the bathroom trips, the headaches, the dry mouth, the morning anxiety, you might be feeling a mix of relief and worry. Relief that there is a reason, but worry about what comes next. Does this mean you are destined for a bulky CPAP machine and a mask for the rest of your life? Not necessarily. For many women with mild to moderate issues caused by this muscle weakness, there is a natural, proactive fix that tackles the root cause, the weakness itself. This brings us to a concept that I absolutely love, something that is revolutionizing how we treat sleep issues in the aging population. If the problem is that the muscles of the throat and tongue have become weak and flabby, just like triceps that haven't seen a dumbbell in years, then the solution is logical. We need to send your throat to the gym. We call this myofunctional therapy, but I like to call it airway aerobics. Now, I want to share a fact here that usually blows people's minds, and I would love to see your reaction in the comments if this is news to you. We often think of the tongue as just a little flap of skin we use to taste food, but the human tongue is actually a massive, powerful muscular organ. It is made up of 8 different muscles intertwined, and relative to its size, it is one of the strongest muscles in the body. However, here's the kicker. For most of us, our tongue is incredibly out of shape. We eat soft foods, we don't chew enough, and we rest our mouths in lazy positions. A weak tongue is heavy, dead weight. When you lie on your back, a weak tongue flops backward into the throat, blocking the air like a cork in a bottle. Research has shown that specific exercises targeting the tongue and the soft palate, the roof of your mouth, can reduce the severity of sleep apnea by up to 50% in adults. That is a massive improvement without a single pill or machine. By tightening these muscles, we are essentially stiffening the walls of that floppy garden hose. We are turning the soft, collapsing tissue back into a firm, open airway. It is non-invasive, it is free, and you can do it while you watch TV or drive your car. It is about retraining the anatomy of your mouth to hold itself open even when you are unconscious. So, are you ready to try this? I want to walk you through a simple 5-minute routine. These exercises might feel a little silly at first. You are going to make some funny faces. But remember, you are literally sculpting your airway for better health. I want you to try these along with me right now. Let's start with the most fundamental exercise, the roof press. I want you to take the entire flat surface of your tongue and suction it up against the roof of your mouth. Not just the tip, but the back of the tongue too. Press it up hard and hold it there. You should feel a stretch under your chin. Hold for 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. You want to repeat this 10 times. This exercise trains the tongue to rest in the up position, which pulls it forward and out of your airway when you sleep. Next, we have the tongue slide. Place the tip of your tongue right behind your front teeth. Now slide the tongue backward along the roof of your mouth as far as it will go, curling it back towards your throat while keeping the tip touching the roof. You are trying to touch the soft part at the very back. When you can't go any further, hold it for a second and slide it back forward. Do this 20 times. This strengthens the base of the tongue, the part most likely to collapse at night. Now let's work the throat muscles with the vowel workout. This isn't just speaking, it is exaggerated stretching. I want you to say the vowels A, E, I, O, U. But I want you to see them silently and dramatically. When you say A, open your mouth as wide as possible. When you say E, stretch the corners of your mouth back toward your ears. For O and U, push your lips forward as hard as you can. You should feel the muscles in your neck engaging and stretching with every letter. Repeat this entire sequence 10 times. This tightens the pharyngeal walls, the sides of your throat. Our fourth move is the chin tuck against resistance. Make a fist and place it under your chin. Now try to open your mouth and push your jaw down against your fist while your fist provides resistance pushing up. Don't let your mouth open. Just create that tension. Hold for 10 seconds and release. This targets the muscles under the chin that support the hyoid bone, which acts like an anchor for your airway. Finally, we have the cheek hook. Use your finger to hook the inside of your cheek and pull it outward gently. Use your cheek muscle to fight against your finger and pull the cheek back in against your teeth. It sounds like a face yoga move, and it is, but it tightens the buccinator muscles, which help keep the side walls of the mouth and airway firm. If you can commit to doing these exercises for just 5 minutes, twice a day, maybe once in the morning while your coffee brews, and once before you brush your teeth at night, you can begin to see changes in as little as 3 to 4 weeks. But the real magic isn't just in the exercises. It is in what happens when they start to work. Because when we talk about fixing sleep, we aren't just talking about closing your eyes. We're talking about reclaiming your life. Imagine waking up in the morning and actually feeling ready to get out of bed. Imagine the fog lifting from your brain. When you treat silent apnea and restore that steady stream of oxygen to your brain, the benefits are profound. We see memory improve. We see emotional stability return. You find you have more patience with your spouse or your grandchildren. We see blood pressure numbers stabilize because the heart isn't fighting for air all night. We see the scale start to move because your hormones, like cortisol and insulin, finally regulate themselves. This is about reclaiming your vitality. It is about having the energy to work in the garden, to travel, to take that art class, to be present and awake for the beautiful years you have ahead of you. You have spent a lifetime taking care of others. Now it is time to take care of the very breath that sustains you. Do not settle for fatigue. Do not accept tired as your new normal. Your body is resilient, and with a little bit of training, your airway can be too. I want you to try these exercises tonight. Just pick one or two to start and see how you feel. And please, if you found this information helpful, share this video with a friend or a sister. So many women are suffering in silence, thinking they are just getting old, when really, they just need to take their throat to the gym. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is an honor to be part of your health journey. Remember to listen to your body, be patient with yourself, and keep breathing deeply. I'm Dr. Emily Hart, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay strong.